52 and 56 in your world history book. First of all, page 52, and since you were to have written these in complete sentences, I will just call on you to read the answer for a particular number, and it should have everything we need. If the person whose paper you had did not write in complete sentences, each time they did not follow that direction, put an NS out to the side. Yes.
You only said the right complete sentences for the one from last night.
It was last week. I would have to look back in my. Let's see, I'm sure it was complete sentences too. Do section review, page 52, incomplete sentences. I have written down, and I put up there exactly what's in my lesson plan. So 52 was incomplete sentences as well. All right, so read the answer to number 1, Caden.
The earliest center of civilization in the Aegean region was located on the island of Crete.
That is correct. Any question? Number 2, Grace.
It says Mycenaean culture.
I'm sorry?
It says Mycenaean culture.
So did not put it in a sentence? Okay, just put an NS out there by it then. The Mycenaean culture displayed a love for military pursuits, was what you should have had, or the Mycenaean culture was the Aegean culture, etc. Any questions? Okay, read number 3 for us. Haley.
Troy was the ancient city discovered by I don't know how to say that.
Try, you got Heinrich right.
Schliemann?
Yeah, that's good, yeah. I've heard it pronounced Schliemann or Schleiman. So that's good. The answer there is Troy. Any question? Number 4, read that for us. Sophie.
The two poems that give us a glimpse into Greek life are the Iliad and the Odyssey. These are attributed to the poet Homer.
Correct. 3 points on that one. 1 for Iliad, 1 for Odyssey, and 1 for Homer. Any questions? Number 5. Read that for us. Luke.
They founded the Olympics.
Who's they, I wonder? Anybody know who they is? They could be lots of different things, right? That's why we don't start our sentences with pronouns. Circle any pronouns that are in your sentences. Who is that yours, Jake? Who's the they?
The Greeks.
The Greeks, the ancient Greeks, is who it is, right? Make sure we have a sentence that makes sense on its own. Okay, the Olympic Games is the answer there. Any question? All right, let's go over to page 56 then. Read number 1 for us, Robbie.
The basic political unit of Greece was the polis or city-state.
Right, you could have either one of those, polis or city-state. Any question? Can't read it?
No.
Can't read it, mark it wrong.
I don't know what
Need
it
to write more
says.
legibly. Number 2, Nate.
There was a monarchy, which means ruled by one, an oligarchy, which means ruled by a few, a tyranny, which meant complete control over the government, and lastly, a democracy, which means ruled by the people.
Okay, good. Those are good answers. 8 points. You get 1 point for the terms and 1 point for each of the definitions. Any question about any of your terms or definitions? Particular definitions. You might have something a little different.
The one for
Tyranny?
says control by force.
Okay. Any others? All right, number 3. Read that for us. Let's see. Who have we heard from? Jake.
The 2 Greek cities represent 2 different ways of life, was Athens and Sparta.
Correct. 2 points. 1 for Sparta, 1 for Athens. Any question? Number 5. Joel?
The language that God chose to write the New Testament was Greek.
That is, I'm sorry, number 4 should have been. I said the wrong number. Number 4 is Greek, correct. Any question? You have a question, Haley? And number 5. Who wants number 5? Caden.
The Greek city-state that was characterized by creativity, commercial endeavors, democracy, and individualism was Athens.
Correct. Any question? All right, I want you to count up the number of incorrect answers and put it at the top of page 52. Put 52 on top, and then put the number incorrect on the top of that page and circle it so I can find it easily. At the bottom of that page, put your name as the grader. Yes.
I didn't miss anything, you just put mine, so.
Yep. If anybody have a lot of NS,
I did on the first one.
okay, on the, all 5 of them, was 3 of them? All right, we'll let that go this time. Any others? Any other NSs or pronouns? All of them? All of them were NS? All right, put a -10. Well, just put a big NS up there by the number wrong, and I'll pick off points. Any others? All right. Now, yeah, question?
I mean, can you read that? I don't know what you want me to.
Well, that looks like a pronoun. I don't know what that is. It looks like Greek. I see a G, an E, and a C, and an R. A Y. Looks like a different line. How many points is number 1? I can't even tell by the. How many points was number 1?
Number 1.
Was 1 point? All right. All right, once you have that finished, then pass them up or hand them to me. I will record them then. All right, now I want to finish up a little bit concerning the Olympics. There were a few things we didn't get to because of time yesterday. So open your notes to the Olympics. We had covered all of the different events of the ancient Olympic Games. And the only thing we did not finish then was the requirements. Everybody find where you are there, the requirements. All right, the first requirement to participate in the Olympics was that you had to be a man. It was men only. And that relates to the second requirement because you had to participate naked. You may have sort of surmised that from the pictures, from what you're not allowed to do, especially wrestling, things like that. So everyone participated naked. Yes?
Is that the reason why the women couldn't watch?
So women were not allowed to participate, not allowed to watch at all. Yeah. In fact, the penalty for a woman being a spectator at the Olympics was death. So they're pretty serious. The third requirement is you had to have a trainer. You had to have a trainer. And the trainer would act as a doctor in case you were injured. That'd be somebody that you probably worked with you and was there in case of injury. Now, one time there was later on when they allowed boys to have games, there was a boy who was competing in a wrestling event, and his mother so wanted to see her boy wrestle, so she disguised herself as his trainer and snuck in. But in the excitement that followed his victory, she was discovered. Now, they took pity on her. They did not punish her. But they did change the rules. You think, maybe they let women in to watch? No, 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 no. Now the trainers had to be naked as well. So, there's no disguising. All right, next. After any question about the requirements? I would think that for a lot of these things it would be difficult to participate naked, but they were used to, I guess. Number 4 has to do with winning. Winning was the primary objective. And in chariot and horse races, it was the owners of the horse that received the prize, not the jockey or the person driving the chariot. Now, what would the awards be? Well, today they get medals, gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal. Back then they got a laurel wreath, some plants that they put on their head. Is that great?
Yeah.
When you train 10 months to win a race, so you could get a little vine of a wreath on your head. Well, there's a lot of honor that went with that too. Of course, the wreath doesn't last very long. But so in addition to the laurel wreath they placed on the winner's head, they also gave them a vase decorated with a picture of the particular event. A lot of the pictures that we saw on our slides were actually taken of vases with the event painted on it. Now, some of the champions were given slaves or even a horse. And I tend to think that's probably by the city from which they came, because they took great pride in having an Olympic champion. In fact, when someone returned from the Olympics, if they had been victorious, they would have a big parade, coming through the city gate, and they would all celebrate the person who had won their event in the Olympics. I read that even sometimes they even knocked a hole in the wall of the city, made a whole new gate for this Olympic champion to come through. So that's how highly they valued these games, and of course winning in those games. The last point is that in later years the boys events were added, and then still later they had girls events. And I don't know the answer to your question. The first modern games were held in Athens in 1896. Now, interesting story, and I'm not sure that this is true, but they once made a movie for TV on our first American Olympic team going to the modern Olympics in 1896. And so, like I said, they didn't know how do you throw a discus, whatever. They had to look at the pictures and try to figure it out. Well, in order to raise money to get there, to pay their passage and the ship and trains to get there, they held exhibitions. People would come out and pay to see them doing their different events, because this is not something that had been done before. So they had these for people to come out and see. Well, the first time they had one of these exhibitions, all the men that were on the team went into a house on the grounds there to get ready to change their clothes. Well, nobody told them that they weren't following the ancient Olympic rule of participating naked. And so they all came out of the house completely naked in front of all these people. And the coach said, "What are you doing? No, put shorts and a shirt on, whatever." So they finally got that figured out, at least according to the movie. All right, any questions about the Olympics?
They call it naked in the movie.
Well, they just discreetly covered I can't remember if they had probably had their hands in place, and maybe there were some bushes in between, I don't know. Of course, they, on TV, they couldn't show them in their entire nakedness. You have your question, Caden?
No, just right.
All right, any questions about the Olympics? All right, we have some coming up soon, so maybe with some of your knowledge of the background, you'll enjoy it more. All right, I'm going to give you time to work on your assignments for tomorrow. One is to make corrections to your test, and the other is to read the article Spartan Training and answer the questions. Spartan Training. Now, make sure you read the questions carefully and read the article carefully. Some of you were not very careful in the way that you answered the questions for Homer's Odyssey. There was a question that asked for two things. Some of you only put down one thing. If you have any questions about your particular answers, you can ask as you are working.